Roll for Funny podcast. My name is Eric, and I like Reddit rabbit holes.
Hi, my name's Alicia, and I'm a Reddit newbie, and we are Grayson and Ryan-less today. Our two friends are on their honeymoon this week.
Yeah. Forgetting their ID honeymoon.
Yeah. First thing, so they're out of state, right? They sent us a message. Well, they called me at 9 o'clock at night and let me know that Grayson left her ID in their apartment. Asked me to go get it and overnight it to them, which I did because I love them and I want them to have plenty of fun. And I shit you not, the minute that they received it, they were face drunk. Yep. Not like 2 hours later, we just started getting crazy drunk texts. They were having a great time. They were sending us these pictures of these Guinness beers, but they had pictures printed in the foam. It was really cool.
Yeah, they said it was like a machine that they were using. It's like $2 and you can get the picture or any picture you want printed on it.
That's really cool. There was a Grumpy Ryan one, and then they did one with the podcast logo on it. That was pretty cool.
Really awesome.
Yeah.
To see, so that was really freaking cool.
Yeah. And their wedding was awesome, but we'll definitely go in more detail about that once they are back in town next week. So what are we doing today, babe?
I'm sorry, my brain was just, you said back in town, and my brain was like, boys are back in town.
Boys are back in town, boys are back in town.
Yeah. All right, sorry. We're going to be going over, since we're Grayson and Ryan-less, it's just me and Alicia today, so we're going to be going over some Am I the Asshole stories, and I think you have one from a different Reddit.
Yeah, I have one from Let's Not Meet.
Oh, I thought it was off my chest.
Yeah, no, you're right. I was looking at Let's Not Meet, and I couldn't find anything that wasn't horrifying, so I went with Off My Chest instead.
Yeah,
so you're right.
We're going to read some stuff off of there, give our opinions, have a good time, and talk about how some people are assholes or they're not. We'll just get into it. Well, first things first.
On the real list?
Roll for funny.
Oh, I have a cat in my lap. She's very distracting. All right. What'd you roll?
12.
8.
Oh.
All right, Eric.
Sorry, guys. Episode's over.
I was going to say, it's all up to you, Eric.
All right. Do you want to go first since you have yours up?
Yeah, I can jump right in. I have not read any of these in advance, so I apologize for any stumbling, but this should be interesting at least. And we can check out some of the comments and stuff too when we're done. So the first one I've got, am I the asshole for telling my husband his sister is emotionally blackmailing him?
What the hell?
Yeah, right? Okay. So my mother-in-law is going downhill fast. She's been ill for several years now, but due to a heart attack, they've changed her medication. So now her BP has skyrocketed and she's had several falls. My husband has promised his dying father that he would look after his mom. He felt better placed to do this at the time he was single and his sister had teenage children. Now he's married and we have 4 small children. His sister has been down this weekend. She lives about 4 hours away and would not hear of mother-in-law may need in the not too distant future. Goodness gracious. I'm not the only one struggling with that, right?
No.
Okay. His sister had been down this weekend and would not hear of mother-in-law may need in the not too distant future to go into a home or assisted living because my husband had promised their father and that I needed to get back in lane. I think they mean in line because I'm not really part of the family. That's a whole other story. And what difference does it make if, for the time being, my husband leaves me with the children and moves in with his mom to keep her out of a home because he promises dad? This person needs to learn how to use commas, but that's my only feedback. Really, that needed 14 commas. Sorry, grammar Nazi here. Anyways, I tried to point out that sister-in-law knows how to play my husband and will continue to use a promise he made as a young single man to enforce her will on him. She's not offering any help. They were here this weekend, and so husband came home for the first time in a month to spend the night with me and the children. She didn't do anything to help his mom up to bed and got grumpy when mother-in-law woke her up at 11 a.m. to help her get down and so she could get herself a drink and food. She didn't want to call my husband because she's very aware that he spent very little time with the children or me and wanted us to enjoy it. She was considering moving into a home, but sister-in-law told her not to allow my husband's selfishness to force her to do something she doesn't want to do. Whenever my husband starts arguing with her, she brings up his promise to his dad.
Here come the beeps. Just a fair warning. But that sister.
Yeah. Like, that's really messed up.
Yeah. So in this story, the mom was even saying that she was considering going to live in a retirement home.
Yeah, because it sounds like she, like, has understanding that, like, he's going to want to spend time with his 4 children and his wife. And that taking care of her would be a very, very large tax on his life and take away from them.
Not only that, it sounded like they were talking about him moving out of the house.
Yeah. So he wouldn't even be living with his wife or children anymore. He would basically move in with his mother and become her full-time caretaker.
Yeah, no, OP is fine. You're good.
Yeah, that sister-in-law sucks. And the fact that, like, she's completely unwilling to help.
That was another big thing whenever you started talking about it. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, you are just constantly making this man feel so bad for a promise he made whenever he was, I'm assuming, a teenager.
Or early 20s when he was still single.
Basically still a child.
Yeah.
And is now a full-grown adult with a whole family.
Yeah. Versus, so when at the time it says that he was single and his sister had teenage children. Mm-hmm. So his sister's a lot older than him. Mm-hmm. And has children that are a lot older and, like, at the point that their mother would need to be taken care of would be moved out of the house.
Yep.
So the sister-in-law has, like, no excuse versus them having 4 small children.
Yep.
At the time when now the mother-in-law really needs help.
And the sister's not helping at all.
Yeah, no, just her, like, she's like, oh, mom's your problem. Don't forget you made a promise to dad. And, like, gonna hold that against him for his whole life.
Yeah, no, that's incredibly terrible.
That's messed up. Let me see. So, just one of the comments on it. Your husband has fulfilled his promise. He provided his mother with a great deal of care, and I assume will continue to do so even if she goes into a home. Nowhere in his promise does it say he has to do all the work alone with no help. Care means giving the person everything they need. The sister is being manipulative and uncaring. She also definitely doesn't like you, so there's that.
Yeah. 100%.
To which OP replies, she's always hated me, so I try not to get involved with family discussions because the second I suggest something, it's the worst idea ever. But this is dragging my husband down and threatening our family because what's happening now won't be able to continue indefinitely as the children and I need help too. Trying to hold down my job, juggle the family businesses, keep the home, and be pretty much a single parent is not going to be able to continue much longer. If she goes into a home, we will, of course, visit and take her on trips out when she feels able. So, like, I just want to know, like, there's a lot more.
Yeah, of course.
Between her and this sister, and I'm really curious about what that is.
Yeah, I'd like to know what the bad blood between the sister and the sister-in-law is.
Yeah. I mean, if it's anything going off of this, though, it just sounds like the sister's a bitch.
Yeah.
And she wants everybody else to have to take all the hardships in life. She's like, I raised my kids and now I'm done. F*** the rest of the family, including her own mother.
Yeah. No,
that's messed up.
Not the asshole.
Definitely not the asshole. And that was the overall vote on the post as well, was not the asshole.
Yeah, I love that they put the little thing at the top. Like, if you scroll through, like, the page, it'll be like, asshole, or not the asshole, because you get a full consensus of, like, everybody.
Yeah. It was pretty good.
Love Reddit.
Cool. You want to do the next one?
Yep. So, this one is fairly long read, so give me a second.
Okay.
All right, so, am I the asshole for not attending my daughter's gender reveal for her lizard?
What?
Yeah.
A lizard.
A lizard.
Okay.
You're a lizard, Harry. All right. So this is literally really okay. So this is literally really stupid, but she's really upset about it. So my 48 daughter, 20. So my
48 female.
48 female. Didn't say female though. It just says 48.
No.
I guess I can't assume female, but I'm guessing this is her mom because she's a daughter. So yeah, 48 female. Daughter 23 has a blue tongue skink, who she heavily adores. She jokingly refers to it as her daughter. I found it weird, but she says it's because it's the closest thing she'd have to a child and feels a strong emotional bond similar to a child. She has decided to remain child-free for multiple reasons, and I've been very supportive of this decision. Doesn't sound like it at this point. Well, she recently took this skink to have a vet for a checkup, and she was excited to find out her skink's gender. Afterwards, I got a text asking if I'd come to her gender reveal party she was having. She explained it was just a small get-together with cake and food for her friends she hasn't seen in a while, with the gender reveal being mostly a joke, and a way to make fun of gender reveal parties. Well, I didn't come. I didn't see a point. It's just a lizard, and I'm a busy person. She later called and expressed she was kind of sad I didn't come because it'd been a while since I'd seen her, but she understood I was busy. I told her, holy I can't speak English. I told her she couldn't actually expect me to come to a gender reveal for a lizard. She said that it wasn't a real gender reveal. It was more of a joke, and it was really just a small gathering to catch up with everyone. I told her if that was the case, she should have just called it a gathering because I'm not coming to a gender reveal unless it's for a real granddaughter. She got quiet for a minute and then turned my words around, claiming I wasn't supportive of her decision to be child-free. I told her she can't possibly expect me to treat a lizard as a granddaughter. She said she didn't expect me to, but it was clear I didn't respect her bond with her lizard and her decision. She just wanted to see me, and my reason for coming was hurtful. I told her she was being ridiculous over a lizard. She claimed it wasn't over the lizard, and it was a gathering and not even centered around the lizard. But I stick by what I said. It's ridiculous to have a gender reveal for a lizard. We're halfway there. There's more.
Okay.
All right. She hung up, and I got a message from her best friend about how I'm an asshole for treating her that way, but I don't think I'm the asshole for not wanting to go to a party for a lizard. All right. So this next part is actually an update. So
let's give
go through that first part.
Yeah. So as it is, they kind of seem to explain that she, before the party originally, also went ahead and kind of put out there that, the gender reveal is kind of a joke and I really just kind of want to have a get together.
Yes.
As like the excuse to have the party.
Yeah.
So I kind of think OP is the asshole.
Oh, 100%.
Because, like, she put out, the daughter put out there that, like, yeah, it's a joke, but, like, it's kind of something funny to, like, have an excuse to get together. Mm-hmm. And then they didn't go, and, like, it could have been left at her expressing that she was sad that they didn't come because she hasn't seen her parent in a while. Mm-hmm. But instead, they were like, F you and your lizard, give me a granddaughter.
Yeah.
So, like, and I want to get where they're coming from because I know grandparents or parents can be very, like, they really, people want to see their family go on. People want grandchildren, and I understand that's very important to a lot of people. Coming from people who are child-free.
And want to continue to be.
Yeah, coming from a forever child-free couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, whatever her reasoning is to not have children, whether she's single or has fertility issues or whatever it may be, like, that's just a decision that they have to respect. And it sounds like they did, but it's definitely hurtful for them to bring up, I'm not coming to a gender reveal if it's not for a granddaughter, when they already put out there that it's kind of a joke.
Yeah.
And also then that kind of puts the pressure back on of, oh, hey, by the way, remember the part where you're not giving me grandchildren? Mm-hmm. Like, what if she has fertility issues? That's extremely hurtful. Yeah. And she can't help that if that is what's going on. But, there can be a lot of circumstances for a reason why somebody might not want to have children or might not be able to have children and choose to live child-free instead of, doing something else like adopting or IVF, which is very expensive. Things like that.
Yeah, no. The OP's 100% an asshole. There's literally no reason to not go, honestly. I mean, even if they were like, it's kind of stupid, I don't care about it.
Well, that's still, like, if they were so busy they couldn't go, they still could have reached out beforehand and been like, hey, sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it to your party, but, you know, do you want to go get lunch or something?
Yeah.
Like, you can find other ways to put time in to spend time with those people rather than going, F you and your stupid party.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, if they could have gone, right, it's your child and you're not going to see them over something that dumb, right? They mentioned it was a joke. It was more of a get-together for everybody. Just changing the name of it, the fact that should have been like, oh, I would have rather gone if it was just called a get together, rather than the gender reveal for the lizard.
Like, why does it matter?
Exactly. Like, that's literally your child.
It was literally prefaced by, oh yeah, the gender reveal is just really kind of a joke. So, you know, assuming that what they wrote is correct.
Yeah.
Like they're the asshole because. Like, it would be different if they were like, yeah, no, I'm really serious. I want to have a gender reveal for my lizard. Like, I would kind of get it and be like, okay, your daughter's a little weird.
Yeah.
Little kooky, but, you know, whatever. People do their, like, the things that they want to do.
Yeah, and I mean, then go anyways. Celebrate with them. Yay, lizard's a boy or girl, whatever.
Yeah.
Have some freaking cake.
But then you're still going to go hang out with your friends.
Yes.
It's not like you're going to reveal the gender of the lizard and then kick all your friends out. Like, you're literally just there to hang out.
Yeah, no. Like, go there, do the thing, support your friends. Especially, I mean, even if it's a weird thing, right? You think it's weird. As long as it's not hurting anybody, right? And it's not affecting their lives in any way, shape, or form. Like, support your friends and their things that they do, even if you might not agree to it.
Yeah.
And especially if it's not hurting you.
How old was the daughter?
23.
Okay, so, like, I'm a younger millennial. Mm-hmm. So if that, and how old is the post?
308 days.
So less than a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so this person is an elder Gen Z. Mm-hmm. Our Tide Pod eaters, if you will. Like, this is, and so, because something that we saw a lot through COVID is, like, themed parties that got really big on TikTok and everybody doing their, I'm this character and I think this person's going to get the drunkest, or this is my first drink and this is my last drink. Like, these people are finding any reason to get together with their friends. And personally, I'm living for it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's awesome. So the thought of having a gender reveal party for a lizard as an excuse to get your friends together is hilarious. Yeah. But that does sound very, like, the parent just kind of doesn't get it. Mm-hmm. And they're like, that's stupid, but, like, they took it too far and being like, I don't think it's a funny joke.
Yeah, no. They could have gone about it a completely different way and everything would have been fine.
Yeah. Anyway, so what's the update?
Well, I just read it again. So it's an edit.
Okay.
So I don't think this is an actual, like, update, but here anyways. So edit, in the time I was away, I got many replies, and it was a lot to read through. Let me clear a couple things up. I guess this is kind of an update then. My issue is that she said the party was gender reveal. If she had called it just a party, I would have come. But calling it gender reveal makes it sound like it's for the lizard, and I'm not going to that even if it is a joke, end quotes. I don't know why it matters, but the skink is a girl, which is why I said I'm not coming to a gender reveal unless it's for a real granddaughter. Even though I don't agree with my daughter for being child-free, there it is. I have been supportive and only shown mild frustration, even more so. Hold on, there's more.
Whoop, there it is.
There's more. The reason she decided to be child-free is she claims she's asexual. She just doesn't want one. She has emotional baggage and feels unable to care for a real child. She fears pregnancy. She has a carrier gene like me and doesn't want to go through what I did. I had 4 miscarriages and a highly defect child that died 3 months after due to the gene. Yes, there was a slight tension between us because I think she just hasn't found the right man. She never dated growing up. And her fears are unnecessarily exaggerated, but it's ultimately her decision and I don't resent her. We haven't seen each other in 3 months. I'm a single mother and we have always been close, which is why she invited me with her friends. I just didn't want to go to a party with a lizard. And if it wasn't for the lizard, she should have called it a party instead of a gender reveal.
You already know I'm about to take off. Like, that was a full, like, prompt of, like, don't get me started.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. I have so many things wrong. I'm going to sit up for this one.
So she didn't help herself at all with this?
No, I can only imagine the comments are tearing her apart.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So
Don't kick the table.
there are so many issues wrong here.
Yeah.
And just to make a timeline of events here, starting with the mother in this post. So we have discovered that it's a mother, not a father.
Yep.
The mother of this girl with the skink literally has fertility issues.
Yep.
Therefore, should understand and be extremely empathetic of how difficult a miscarriage is. Mm-hmm. To have a child die, which is something I cannot relate to. I cannot fathom that pain.
Yeah.
But the fact that she's gone through this and has absolutely no sympathy for the fact that her daughter does not want to experience that kind of pain or even put herself in the position to experience that kind of pain is horrible. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing. Like the lack of empathy for something that you like in an area where you can absolutely empathize.
And not only just went through once, but 4 times.
4 miscarriages and then a child that passed away at 3 months old.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that's absolutely
That is
terrible.
unimaginable pain. And I'm sure she's extremely thankful and grateful for the living and healthy daughter that she does have.
Yeah.
However, apparently she treats her like crap. Because she's minimizing any potential trauma that daughter could go through in attempting to get pregnant and carry a baby to term. Mm-hmm. Like, that's ridiculous and sickening and disgusting. Then to add on top of that her daughter identifies as asexual. I understand some people do not believe in asexuality. But I have a strong belief that if somebody doesn't want to have sex with you, you're not entitled to sex with them, nor are they ever required or like there's no requirement that they ever need to carry a child for any reason. Mm-hmm. Like the mother having an issue with the fact that her reasons for being child-free being gene issues and being asexual and literally not wanting to have sexual relations with another person as just a facet of like their brain and how they work. Like, what? That's disgusting. So like, I can't even call you homophobic because it's not like the daughter's a lesbian or trans or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just, they don't experience that kind of attraction. They don't want to have sex with people.
Yep.
And that's okay. Why are you faulting your daughter for that?
Yep.
Like, so then if you just wanted to go and throw that all together, right? Say the daughter did get pregnant and there was either a gene issue or a miscarriage. So there's already that trauma on top of probably what was not a great thing for her brain in forcing herself to have sex with somebody to conceive in the first place.
Yeah.
There's so many things wrong with this mother. It feels very like sometimes older generations don't like they minimize the experiences of people younger than them because they feel like they had it harder.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, one person's trauma, whether it is worse or not as bad as what you went through, it does not minimize what you went through and you can't take it personally. Like literally, unless that person is distinctly rubbing it in your face, and I've never met anybody who has rubbed trauma into somebody else's face for fun. Like I don't understand that mentality of, oh, you're just being a wimp, suck it up. What you're going through isn't as bad as what I went through.
Yeah.
Why would you want to wish that on somebody that you love?
Yeah, that's like one of the biggest things that you hear a lot of parents do. My mom said it growing up all the time. Like, I want my kids to have it better than I did. It's literally something they always say.
Well, yeah, and that's perfectly acceptable and fine to think and want for your children, and I think that's what every parent wants.
Yeah.
However, when bad things happen to your child that are just out of people's control, if they went through the loss of a family member, if they had something terrible happen to them, some sort of incident or an attack, or even if like they survived a natural disaster or something, that's extremely traumatic to a person. And you can't say, oh, I survived getting shot.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, my child survived their home being destroyed by a hurricane.
Yeah.
You can't equivalate the two traumas. Trauma affects everybody differently. And just because you survived an attack from a person and this person survived their home being destroyed, it doesn't, like, their trauma doesn't make your trauma smaller or better or worse or anything.
Yeah.
Trauma is trauma. It is what it is. You have to accept it and want to heal either way. You can't belittle somebody based on their experiences because they're different than yours or because you consider them less than yours, which is exactly what she's doing to her daughter.
Yeah. And then the part where she's like, this is what makes it sound like she's, like you were talking about, older generations not understanding a lot of the things that are going on with a lot of the younger ones, is that, because you hear this tossed around a lot too, is that she says, yes, there's been tension between us because I think she just hasn't found the right man.
Yeah, right into the ace thing. Mm-hmm. She doesn't
find men attractive or women attractive. She doesn't. Well, it's not.
The thing too is, like, she could still find people attractive. She just may not experience sexual attraction to that person.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Not to the point of definitely not wanting to have a child with them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no. This.
She doesn't consider her child's identity valid, which I'm sure is extremely difficult for the daughter. I would love to hear the daughter's side of this because it sounds like there's probably a long history here of her belittling her daughter's thoughts based on her wanting to be child-free for both the genetic reasons and based on her sexuality.
Yep.
Excuse me. And her mother essentially being like, that's not real. You're faking it. You just haven't met the right person.
Yep.
Whatever, right? Like, unfortunately, unless you have that messed up kid's toy, you can't fit a square block in a round hole. You know?
Where does the circle go?
That's right. It goes in the square hole. You know? And unfortunately, real life and personalities aren't like that.
No, they're not.
And so it's really, I can only imagine how upsetting that is for the daughter that, like, that's been her life. And that she wants to continue to try to maintain a healthy relationship for her mother. And she probably looks past a lot of that passive aggression from her mother to continue to have that relationship. Mm-hmm. But instead, her mom goes, no, I'm not coming to your party because you made it over something that I think is stupid.
That'd be like... So that would be like us inviting... So, quick thing for us. Me and Alicia have 4 animals, right? We have 2 dogs, 2 cats.
Yeah.
We love them dearly. Those are our children.
Our babies.
Right? My one dog I've had since he was 8 weeks old. That's my baby.
Yeah, you birthed them.
Mm-hmm. So every year we get our animals Christmas presents. Mm-hmm. Every single year. And we take pictures and we hang stockings for them and then we give them presents and it's a good time.
Yeah, we treat them like kids.
That'd be like inviting your family over to open presents. And then by the time it's like time to open presents for like the animals or whatever, they're like insulting us for it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously on a much smaller scale than what this is because of all the things that this mother has done. But like, that'd be like someone telling us getting our animals presents for Christmas and stuff like that is stupid. When it's literally so fun.
Yeah, I'm like, it's just... It's either the passive aggression or the attacking of somebody who's doing something harmless. Mm-hmm. Something that does not affect you in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, you're doing something that, like, your daughter expressed to you that it hurt her feelings, that you didn't come to her party to see her and hang out with her and spend time with her because she hasn't seen you in a while, over something that you think is stupid that she thought. Mm-hmm. And obviously over other opinions that she have that you've previously belittled.
Yeah, this goes a lot further back than just this one party.
Oh,
Guaranteed.
Yeah. This is, I mean, she's asexual. This is this girl's whole life.
Yeah. So there's no more updates after that I see, but literally the first... Oh, there's some removed comments in here.
Oh, dang. So they got wild in there.
Yeah, so... The very first comment is, you're the asshole, that's your Grand Blizzard. I don't know what ETA means in this particular way.
What does it say?
It says, ETA, it was obviously not just about the gender reveal and your daughter wanted to see you.
Yeah, I don't know what it would have meant there, but either way.
Reddit sometimes messes me up with all the weird acronyms. Like I was reading one earlier today, and it was, on the other hand, but shortened into an acronym, and I had to sit there and look at it for like
OTOH?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I had to sit there and look at it for a minute and try and figure out what it was. And I was like, oh, on the other hand, okay, cool. Back into reading.
Well, it's like when we were listening to Two Hot Takes and they were talking about BEC, eating crackers.
Yes.
And like it's funny when you're in on the joke, but like most people who don't consistently read Reddit aren't going to understand.
Yeah.
And that can be like really hard for people. Oh my goodness gracious. Somebody is upset.
Harley went out. Speaking of our animals.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll say that's the one thing is I'm extremely thankful that our parents, like, we're child free, and my parents especially have always wanted grandchildren, and I am the oldest child, and I know that that's probably really hard for them, that I've made that hardline decision that I don't want to have children, and I also have a massive fear of pregnancy. But I'm really thankful that, like, my parents at least lean in on the joke about they have grandcats and granddogs.
Yes.
And my mom's like, I came to see my grandchildren, came to see my grandbabies. Like, she gives our animals extra names. She gave her cat Ivy a middle name that she doesn't have, but always calls her it because, like, she's leaning into the joke a little bit of, like, that's the decision that we've made and this is what our life is going to be.
And they love her.
Yeah.
They freak out when she comes over.
Yeah. They love their grandma.
But, yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, I feel like I'm lucky in this aspect of the whole child-free thing because I've got 3 other siblings.
Yeah.
And 2 of them are older than me, and 2 of them have kids. My oldest has two daughters, and, of course, my younger sister has 1 boy. So my mom has grandkids.
Yeah.
She just won't see any grandkids from me. Or I doubt my older brother will have any, but yeah.
Say, I wonder how she feels about that only because you're the favorite.
I'm not the favorite.
You are absolutely the favorite. Don't act like you're not. She loves you.
Yeah. But yeah, so, yeah, that person is absolutely a straight up dickhead.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay. Am I the asshole because I told my husband's ex-girlfriend to stop calling him for help?
Okay. I need more context.
Okay. This is kind of a short one, so we'll see where it goes.
Cool.
My husband's ex-girlfriend dumped him for another man 4 years ago, and she still calls him for help. Now I found out she caught her new man in the act having sex with another woman earlier this year because she still talks to my sister-in-law, and unfortunately about me and my husband. So now the calls started again. I text and said stop calling my husband. She gaslit me and says there's nothing wrong with them being friends because they go way back. They have no kids together or any ties. She has a history of homewrecking because she busted up his marriage when they got together. She says I'm being childish. I say she's being disrespectful. What do you think?
There's very little context. However, the ex-girlfriend needs to respect his new marriage.
Yeah. I want to know what the context is of the help. Like, what is she calling? Like, is she calling to vent to a friend? Is she like, hey, my toilet's broken. Can you come fix it?
Yeah.
Like, what level of help is she
And how
seeking?
often?
Yeah. Like, I totally get the territorialness of, like, this is my husband. Your ex-girlfriend needs to stop talking to you because...
He ain't funny, ho.
He ain't funny, ho. Yeah. Like, I totally get that being a female, because I would definitely feel some sort of way if your ex reached out to you for any reason. However, like, you need to be able to trust your husband to some extent. Do you trust your husband to any extent?
Yeah.
And how is he responding? And is this something that you've brought up with your husband versus just trying to start a cat fight with this girl who's reaching out to him? Have you said, hey, I'm not really comfortable with you two talking. Can you please limit that or, like, let me know what's going on? Like, keep me really in the loop so I can stay comfortable. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, there's some kind of insecurity around this.
Yeah. Which makes me think that, like, there might have been something that has maybe made her suspicious of the whole thing. But there's so few context with that one. It's hard to tell. Because it could just be the territorial thing, which I mean, perfectly valid, 100%. Nobody wants their current partner talking to their exes like that.
Yeah.
Especially when they're calling them constantly for help.
Yeah. Well, and you know, she like is leaning really hard on the, she's a homewrecker thing.
Yeah.
But I actually heard somebody, I think it was Two Hot Takes too, say something really insightful recently that was that there are cheaters and then there are people who have cheated. Mm-hmm. And they're not necessarily the same.
No.
Unfortunately, there are people who really just struggle with monogamy and don't do that well and take a really unhealthy way out instead of dealing with any problems in a relationship. And then there's people who, you know, may have not been faithful at the end of a relationship because they didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And then they never did that again and they grew emotionally. It happens.
Yeah.
It's weird, but it happens. And unfortunately, people who have cheated get a stigma. But, yeah. So... one of the comments right at the top that I definitely agree with says, I say you should take this up with your husband. Tell him to stop accepting your calls, block her number, make it clear that he doesn't want to talk to her anymore. You know, that's part of it too. Does he want to talk to her?
That's what I was just about to say. I was like, does he want to talk to her?
Yeah.
Is he fine with helping her?
Yeah. Also, like, is that, because if it is simply a friendship, is that a friendship that brings value to his life and is strictly platonic at this point?
Yeah.
Because if it is, that's something that could be a line in the sand with your husband.
Yeah.
Anyways, they say, I think she sounds terrible, but she's not really the issue here. You either trust your husband to be faithful or you don't. He's the one who took vows. Edited to add, not the asshole, but I think you should stay out of this. If your husband doesn't want to be speaking to her, he should be making that clear and setting firm boundaries. I don't really see any new comments from OP. Like, they really didn't update on this a whole lot.
Dang it.
Oh, it's only a day old, so it's a little hard to say. So far, the overall vote has been everybody sucks, which I don't know if I necessarily agree. I'm not sure there's an asshole here. It sounds like OP may just be insecure. Mm-hmm. Maybe they've dealt with cheaters in the past, which is totally understandable because as we've been talking about trauma a lot, that in and of itself is a trauma and makes it hard to trust newer people. But yeah, either she trusts her husband or she doesn't. And like, she's making it all about the other girl, which I think is a really big issue in relationships where there is cheating. Yeah. Is you make it all about the person that they cheated with, not about the other person in the relationship.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the person who's cheated's fault. Because usually, and in a lot of cases, the person they cheated with knows nothing about you.
Yeah.
Because they lied to them. And we're like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm single.
Yeah, there's tons of situations where the other woman never knew anything about you.
And yeah, and that person has a whole family.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's not that person's fault. And they end up taking a lot of flack and a lot of drama for that.
Yeah.
Like whoever was cheated on will end up staying with their cheating partner instead of kicking them to the curb.
Yeah. Like, they were manipulated into cheating.
Yeah.
Which...
Like, they'll just come back and be like, oh, baby, I love you so much. Like, no, you don't. Because you lied to me and you lied to her. Mm-hmm. But
that's another thing a lot of people don't talk about is, or at least I'm not entirely sure that they talk about, but like how messed up you're making that other person too. Especially if they know nothing about your other life.
Oh, yeah. Bitches be crazy.
Yeah.
A woman scorned and all that. Unfortunately, that scorn doesn't always go in the right direction.
Yeah.
Oh, well. What you got next?
Okay. This is a little bit of a shorter one now.
Okay.
Than my book that I had. All right. So, am I the asshole for telling my 26 female friend, female 26, because they're both female 26 years old, excuse me, that her degree is useless if she has to leave the country to find work?
You know, I saw this and I scrolled by it because right off the bat, I'm like, yeah, you're the asshole. That's rude. What if she's completely willing to leave the country? But I'm sure there's a lot more context, so go ahead.
All right. So I have a high school friend, Diana, who recently got her master's degree. She lives in another city and we barely ever saw each other, and she always was too busy for long phone calls, so we only talked briefly every now and then. During the time she spent on her degrees, I managed to get married and start my own family. Diana was visiting her family when we met up for lunch. I asked her about her degree, work prospects, etc. She did her master's in translation or interpreting or something like that. And she said she got a job but will have to move to Brussels. I told her that's crazy. If she can't find a job locally, then her degree was a waste of time if she has to move to another country. She said it's an amazing job opportunity and she couldn't get anywhere around here. Apparently the job is related to EU Parliament or whatever. I admit I lost her with all the abbreviations she was using.
Okay, wait. Hang on. So OP is now married with children?
Yes.
And the other girl isn't?
Yes.
She just went on to get her master's degree?
Yes.
Okay.
She again said that it was an amazing opportunity and she's excited. I asked her about the pay and she told me, I said that my husband earns that without a degree, so I was right about... What? Okay, hold on. I said that about my husband. My husband earns that without a degree, so I was right about the Easter of time and money.
Maybe they meant waste of time and money.
Easter is capitalized.
Waste
of time and money.
Yeah.
Waste of time and money, and she said it's starting salary and it'll grow the first year. I saw pretty much training and being in a junior position. I again said that she could have gotten a similar job here and wouldn't have wasted 6 years. And instead could have already started work and started a family. And here's where she was rude. She said that if she was to be as unhappy as I was, she didn't want a family. She threw in my face that apparently I'm always complaining about my husband, but I'm criticizing her. He's the best husband in the world. I told her she's ridiculous and mean, and she called me an asshole. Paid and left the restaurant. I told my friends about this, and they're splitting who's the asshole here, so tell me, am I the asshole for telling her the truth?
She's the asshole. OP
100%.
is the asshole.
100%.
Like, so I love that her friend threw it back in her face that she's the unhappy one. Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, obviously you're projecting your feelings on her.
Yep.
Like, why do you care so much that you feel like she wasted her time?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, this is something that she's really excited about. She wants to move to Brussels.
And is literally so invested in and is so happy about that they spent 6 years and got a freaking master's degree.
Yeah. Like, this sounds very like... This sounds like the argument of, oh, I have a family and children. You can't possibly be happy if you don't have a family and have children.
Yeah.
Like, you're never going to get anywhere because you're not married. You can't be a single woman in the world and be happy and successful and self-fulfilled. That's exactly what that sounds right. Like,
and the fact that she made it sound like her starting her family and getting married was above this girl getting her degree. Because what she was saying is during the time she spent on her degree, I managed to get married and start my own family.
good for you.
Right? Yeah, like okay.
Look, here's the thing, right? You could have both gone down the same path, and she might just not have met the person that she was meant to be with in that amount of time. And you would still be the only one who's married with kids, even though you went down the same career path. So it's just you, bruh. If you're not that happy, then that's on you. I do love that she's like, oh, you constantly complain about your husband. So you must be the one who's unhappy and you're projecting that on me, and that's a you problem. Because, yeah, the friend is exactly right. That's not something that, like, that's OP's problem. Mm-hmm. And obviously there's something going on that she's projecting. She's either upset that she didn't go on and continue to further her education, or she's not happy in her relationship and her marriage. Like, there's something going on there that she's like, I can't understand how you're happy because I have what I consider to be the perfect life, mm-hmm. but you seem happier than me, and that's not fair. So I'm going to drag you down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that person 100% asshole.
Yeah.
So let's see. I don't see any updates, but the first comment says, thank she's leaving the country to get away from your jealous ass.
Yeah, I mean, just having that sort of argument and tearing somebody down about something that they're genuinely happy about just reeks of insecurity.
Yeah, and like, this is supposed to be your friend.
Yeah.
Like, you celebrate your friends who do things like that. If I found out one of my friends was getting another job in another country, I would be so excited for them. I'd be upset that they were leaving and I wouldn't get to see them again.
Yeah.
However, you would support them and tell them that you're excited and tell them to send you tons of pictures from this country you've never been.
Yeah. And especially for something like that, obviously, like they've put all of this time into getting their master's degree. They've got an amazing opportunity. They're getting to go abroad. Mm-hmm. They're probably going to get a lot of opportunities. They're moving somewhere where they have a lot of opportunity for growth. Yeah, you sound like a jealous housewife, dude. I'm sorry that you decided to have kids and give up your career aspects. That's on you. That's a decision that you made. It's wonderful that your husband makes good money and can support you and your family. But if you're that upset about somebody else being successful in a field that you no longer pursued, that is all a you problem.
Yep. Asshole.
Yes. Hole. Okay. I'm very interested on this one. Am I the asshole for saying my ex can't have his daughter if he keeps using hairspray on her hair?
I skipped past that one.
Really?
Yeah.
I was very interested in this one because, I'm very interested in hair. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyways, my daughter has beautiful curly hair. I have to keep her hair tied up in a bun because it's the best way to keep knots from happening. She has a very sensitive scalp, so brushing her hair is a very delicate process. Her dad has her 2 weekends a month, and every time he has her, he puts so much hairspray in her hair that I can literally taste it as I'm trying to brush it out. Mm. If that's not bad enough, he applies so much that she chokes and coughs on it. I'm not present when this happens. This is what my daughter has told me. He knows she has an inhaler and hasn't had to use it for some time, but she got it when she had a persistent cough for 3 months. He cares so much about his image that it's affecting my daughter. He tells her that she looks scruffy with her hair the way I do it. I put a clip in the top to keep the frizz down, but she has such beautiful hair. I only do it to keep it from blowing in her face, otherwise I'd just leave it. This isn't the first time this has happened. I've told him more than 6 times not to put product in her hair. He's bald. What does he know about hair? Telling me she has split ends. I said, mate, you're bald. You don't even know what split ends look like. I'm at the end of my rope now. He has an obsession with looking neat and tidy. His obsession with looking neat and tidy is causing my daughter pain when I try and fix the mess he makes of her long hair. I told him if he plans on doing it again, then he's not having her anymore. Am I the asshole?
No, she's not an asshole. I don't think she's an asshole. However, unless she has full custody and she's allowing him to see her those 2 weekends.
I mean, that's what it sounds like, is like it's shared custody, and so she goes to, or maybe I don't really understand custody.
I don't either.
Since we don't have kids, but so either it's she has full custody and like her daughter gets to go see her dad on every other weekend, or it's shared custody. But I don't fully understand how shared custody works. So.
Yeah, I don't either, but
it's legally.
And also, she said mate.
Yeah.
So that sounds like they're not in the U.S.
Makes me think they could either be British or Australian, possibly.
Yeah. Which that makes custody a whole different thing because there's no way I know
different
how it works
laws.
out there.
Well, so the big thing that catches me here is I don't know their race, and so I don't know what type of hair the daughter has. Yeah. Because like I have curly hair too, but curly hair like mine is much different than black curly hair. Mm-hmm. Like I have loose silky curls because I'm white and I have white and I have white people hair. Yeah. But yeah, that's very, very different than a hair type that like you would need different picks and combs and different techniques and oils and different products to allow it to work correctly. Mm-hmm. So that makes me like curious because I'm sure there's plenty of examples of people who like may have like a mixed race baby and just don't know how to take care of their hair properly and don't put the effort into learning. Because if you're adopting or having a mixed race child, like you have to put the effort into learning how to take care of their hair because it's a whole different ball game. Yeah,
it's a whole different process that takes a whole lot longer and requires a lot more hair than a lot more care than just jumping in the shower, putting shampoo and conditioner in your hair, and then getting out. Yeah, it's a lot different.
Well, and I wonder too, because it also kind of sounds like the mom isn't doing a ton to take care of the daughter's hair. And that's part of why I'm curious about like the race and the hair texture too. Because if she's just throwing it in a bun so like her hair's out of the way, that's not necessarily taking care of it.
Yeah.
If it's what I'm thinking, which is that it may be like textured hair. But like if it were my kind of hair, like I get it. Like, yeah, you throw it in a bun to get it out of the way. You're going to have little wispies and frizzies and like shit happens when you go outside. It gets windy, you know, you get some flyaways. But yeah, like putting on so much hairspray that your kid's hair becomes like a helmet on their head is really messed up. I used to do that when I was in the military, just like keep all my flyaways down all day.
Yeah.
And yeah, my hair was like a helmet when I got off at the end of the day and it hurt to brush out.
Yeah.
But that was just kind of part of the job. But like, this is a child.
And they're literally coughing because they're using so much.
Yeah. And they don't.
Can't be good.
No. And they don't say how old the child is. So, I mean, not old enough yet that they're taking care of their own hair. So, like, 10 or younger, I guess.
Probably, yeah.
Like, yeah. At that age where their parents are still, like, kind of monitoring the majority of their hair care. So, yeah, that's really kind of concerning on both ends. But especially the dads where it's not even neglectful of like just trying to get the hair out of the way, but worse in that he's like, I'm going to put this product in to control it and I don't care what the effects are on my daughter.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really concerning. But yeah, so I mean, I do think it's a bit extreme to say like you're not going to get to see your kid anymore.
Yeah.
However, like I think that's like a really frank discussion of like, okay, well, like I understand like that might be a little bit more difficult and you want her hair to look a certain way. But maybe you and I together as parents need to invest time into learning how to do different things. Maybe you need to learn how to braid her hair.
Exactly.
Maybe you need to learn how to put it in twist. Like something simple to get the hair in a style that the dad is considering neat while also like not harming your child.
Also, what does this dad do that he's like so obsessed with the daughter's hair being like absolutely perfect?
He's Mr. Clean.
Get out. Not funny.
4.
You're not funny.
But he's bald. That was good.
It was okay.
Okay. Whatever. Yeah. This dad kind of sucks because like he doesn't care enough to learn, but like mom also sucks a little bit because she like needs to learn how to have like an adult conversation with her ex.
Yeah.
For the benefit of their child. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So, where is it? Okay, here's the next one. This one's a little longer.
I cannot wait for my next one.
Okay. All right. So, am I the asshole for telling my wife she either starts working or her adult kids pay rent? I've been married to my wife for 5 years. She has 2 kids from her previous marriage. Jason, 22 male, and Carla, 19 female. When we were married, my wife still had 50-50 custody of her kids, and she wanted to move into my house. I converted the attic into a bedroom so both of her kids and us could have our own rooms. Their father is present in their life, so I was pretty much designated that guy that married their mom, and I'm fine with that. I sorely underestimated how much having 2 teenagers in the house would increase the bills. So when I read this at first, I was like, only one of them is a teenager, but I'm assuming they're talking about at this point 5 years ago when they were both still teenagers.
Yeah.
Okay. When I was single, I could do my mortgage and bills fine on my own. Post-marriage, everything but the mortgage has gone up, not including spending money for the kids and their extracurriculars. Holy crap.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. I don't know why that hit me so hard.
That was awesome.
My wife got child support from her ex and some extra help with their expenses, which helped a bit while she had it. But I still had to dip into my savings a lot. It was really important for my wife to be a stay-at-home mom until they graduated. It was tight, but we made it work. Jason moved out after graduating high school to attend college out of state, and when Carla graduated last year, we agreed she could have 1 year to figure out if she'd be moving out or applying to nearby schools. Currently, she's not working or in school. A few days ago, I go into the kitchen and my wife's on the phone with Jason. She told him that he was more than welcome to move back in, and she was excited to see him when he got here. After she hung up, I told her that she should have run that by me first so we could discuss it. I wasn't opposed to it, but I told her he should know what he'd be expected to contribute if he's moving in. She responded that she had always told her kids that they would always be welcomed home whenever they wanted and not have to worry about the expenses. I told my wife that was really nice of her, but she made that arrangement with her ex-husband when they were married. She didn't make that arrangement with me. If Jason moved back in, he'd have to pay rent to pitch in with groceries and utilities he'd be using, and probably should be in the same for Carla, so it's not one sibling paying while the other isn't. She said that her kids shouldn't have to pay to live at home, so I told her if she felt so strongly about her kids not pitching in now that they're adults, she could go back to work. She's been sleeping in Jason's old room since we've been debating it, and her parents have chimed in with their 2 cents saying I shouldn't be making kids, in quotes, pay to live at home. My whole thing is, they're not kids anymore. When they're 30, they'll still be her kids, but that doesn't mean treating them like minors, especially if it means someone else is footing the bill. Am I the asshole?
I have a very mixed opinion on this. How old is the post?
1 day.
Okay. So, the reason I have a mixed opinion about this is because in a post-COVID world, and especially with the housing market in most places right now, I understand where OP is coming from about bills being very expensive and mortgages going up and it being a little bit difficult, especially if he's consistently dipping into savings. Mm-hmm. Because eventually those savings will run out.
Yep.
And then they won't be able to pay their bills.
Yep.
And so either somebody helps pay the bills or they get evicted.
Yep.
And nobody wants to go through that. So that's why I understand where he's coming from. The other reason I ask is because post-COVID, there are a lot of jobs available.
Yep.
So with both of the kids being out of school, especially the daughter, Carla, mm-hmm. not being in school, and like it almost sounds like she's taking a gap year.
Yeah.
I feel like she should be working.
100%.
Or at least looking for a job, even if it's like just part-time. And, like, maybe she helps cover some of the groceries. Or she covers a bill for the household. Like, just a little something to pitch in. Like, I feel like that's fair. When you're looking at a family situation where the bills are not fully able to be covered by the only working parent.
Yeah.
Like, and I say that as somebody who, like, I did have to move back in with my parents. And they did not make us pay rent, and I'm extremely thankful for that because they gave us time to get back on our feet.
Yeah, but also, that was a completely different situation for us.
It was.
We moved back because we had both just gotten out of the Army.
Yeah.
And we're needing a fresh start, and we were there 6 months.
Yeah. Well, either way, I'm looking at that as adults who do not have jobs.
Yeah.
Right? We both... I had a job when we moved here, but you had
I found a job 3 weeks after we got there, 4 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, you went job hunting immediately.
Yeah.
But, like, that's why I feel like that should be the expectation.
Yeah.
Like, even if, like, because, like, the daughter, Carly, even if she decides not to go to college, she's still going to have to get a job and make a living. And, like, the goal is to move out of your parents' house eventually. So, like... while she's going to be there for a year, I feel like she should be working and contributing in some way, shape, or form. I mean, you see it all the time, especially, like, you don't see it so much in white families, I feel like, but in POC families, like, I feel like especially, like, Latino families where you have multiple generations living in the same house, mm-hmm. everybody does contribute to the bills. Everybody's living under one household. So you have mom, dad, son, daughter, wives, husbands, and, you know, potentially even grandchildren who are all helping with the bills for the family.
Yeah.
And, yeah, when it's that sort of situation where you need that sort of income to cover all of the bills, it totally makes sense that, hey, the kids might have to pitch in a little bit. Maybe they need to pay $100 for rent every month. You know, something just to help foot the bill. And, like, And of course, understanding the mom being like, oh yeah, my kids can always come home. Like, totally fair. Totally get that. My mom has always said the same thing. I think that's completely fair. And like, that's a normal thing.
Yeah.
But like, I think he said it in maybe not the nicest way, but I think this husband is making a fair point that like, if the kids are going to be moving back in because he's struggling to pay the bills on his own without dipping into savings, then yeah, he's going to need help. And either she needs to get a job as another working adult or as another able-bodied adult in the household, which, because both of her children are adults, you would kind of assume that that's part of the plan if he's not able to pay all the bills by himself. Or the kids help contribute. Or both.
Yeah.
Both would be even better because everybody in that household is an adult.
Yeah. There's no need for her to be... Like, I understand when they were growing up and her kids were still at home going to school and whatever, and her wanting to still be a stay-at-home mom. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mom whatsoever. But there's no... Like, I don't know the exact word for this because the only thing I can think of is momming. There's no like need for a mom at home now since they're both adults.
Yeah.
There's no need for her to be a stay-at-home mom anymore. And if it's going to cause so much pressure on their livelihood, having both of them back, which it sounds like all of the bills are going up, and his salary is not going anywhere, it sounds like somebody needs to help out.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who are just like permanent housewives, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
No.
Personally, would love to be a housewife. Would love to just be able to craft all day and spend all my husband's money. However, not on the cards for me yet. But
Not yet.
Like, that is a thing for some people. However, the contingency on that is usually that the husband is making enough money to support the household by himself.
Exactly.
And in this case, he's not. So there is a need for a secondary income.
Yeah.
It just, like, it makes a lot, it's the only thing that makes sense is that somebody is bringing in extra money. If mom's not going to work because she wants to be there for the kids need to contribute a little bit because they're moving back in. Not to mention, they're at that age that if they were to move out, they're going to have to pay those bills anyways.
Exactly.
So I don't feel like there's any harm in saying, hey, I'm having a hard time paying the bill, so you're going to contribute, but you're going to contribute, like less than the husband would. Mm-hmm. So, you're going to pay like a small portion of these bills, give you a little taste of what it's going to be like in the real world.
Yeah, like he's not going to split the mortgage like 3 ways with them.
Yeah.
He's going to make them pay like probably
a couple $100.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
Like between the two of them as well, more than likely.
Yeah.
But like something just to help with the bills so that way he's not pulling out of his savings and he's not like worried and constantly stressed about how these next bills are going to get paid.
Exactly.
And then whenever one of them doesn't get paid and his lights get shut off or the water gets turned off and they're looking at him like, why is the bills not paid? And then he finally explodes and is like, because nobody's helping me.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's like when you start to dislike somebody for something that they're doing, but like
Resent them?
Yes. Resentment builds.
Yeah.
Being the sole caretaker of the family in that way and feeling like you're not receiving the help needed because it's extremely stressful to not be able to pay the bills.
Yeah.
I mean, we know, we've been there.
It's not fun.
No, not at all. It's extremely stressful. It does build resentment. Mm-hmm. When we couldn't pay a bill, something happened. I wasn't even aware that we couldn't pay that bill, and I was a little resentful, I'll admit. And this is a husband trying to come forward and say, hey, I can't carry all of this. Somebody's going to help. Either you or the other 2 grown adults living in this house. Mm-hmm. Like he may not be going about it the best way, but at least he's voicing his needs in order to keep that family together and safe and in a house versus saying, hey, I can do this for 2 more months and then we're getting evicted.
Yep.
Like nobody wants to go through that.
No. Yeah. His delivery wasn't executed very well, but it's there, and whatever they decide to do with it after that point, I hope somebody's helping him because that is just not going to be a fun time to go through for anyone involved.
Yeah. Has OP left any comments?
Hold on. So I don't see any extra comments from them. Just some posts some comments on the actual thing, so I don't see any updates, but let's see. The very first comment is a quote from the actual post itself. It says, the quote is, "It's really important it's really important to my wife to be a stay-at-home mom until they're graduated."
They've graduated.
And then the person commenting says, "Not the asshole. Your wife clearly does not want to or intend to ever work again. Insisting on being a stay-at-home mom while children are in high school is ridiculous, and they are years beyond graduation at this point. Funny how their father is off the hook for support now, but you are still paying through the nose to support his kids." I don't really give too much into this person talking about staying at home while their children in high school is ridiculous. People stay at home all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're coming across a little judgy.
Yeah.
On a personal note, I kind of agree, but also, like, there's a lot of circumstances that go into that. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't disagree with somebody's personal choices to stay home with their kids, you know?
But I do like the fact that they mention the actual kid's biological father is off the hook for support, but he's expected to pay for the kids, which I understand. He got into the relationship knowing the fact that she had kids. So that is on him. Knowing that he's getting into a relationship with somebody who has kids, you're going to be expected to contribute in some way, shape, or form. That's how it works. However, there's no context on whether, there's not enough context on whether to know how much the actual father of the kids is contributing. I think they said he's like not contributing at all anymore. But why is that not being brought up?
Well, if they're over 18, he wouldn't be contributing anymore.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Child support since 18.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good point. And I think part of it too is that there is a general expectation that in a healthy household, parents are going to take care of the child until at least 18, until that child's a legal adult. And then the expectation through society is that that child is going to grow up, move out, get a job, and hopefully not need to return home, you know?
Yep.
That's not always the case, but like there's steps that go into that, like getting a job. So, yeah. Unfortunately for him, like he's already not able to manage all of the bills by himself. And then on top of that, he can't have other adults kind of freeloading off of him. Mm-hmm. Because unfortunately, there is a point where children can become mooches.
Yeah.
Like parents let their children get away with it for way too long because they're children. And I do understand that and empathize with that. But like, you're still letting another human being take advantage of you for the sake of, like, blood relations.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to you as a human being. Like, there's a lot of parents, mothers especially, I feel like, who will let their children take advantage of them for years just because they don't want to grow up and move out. Because it's easier to stay at home with mom. Mm-hmm. Cool.
You want to read the last one?
Yes. So this one is from Off My Chest.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I wanted to hear this.
Yeah, this one I did. This is the only one that I read. It's really interesting.
And this is people just, like, voicing their, like...
Off My Chest is, like, people, like, giving confessions, basically.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. I couldn't think of it.
Yeah, so... And from what I've read, some of them are, like... basic confessions. Some of them are like, my partner did something really weird and I don't know how to feel about it. What would you do? Mm-hmm. Like asking for opinions kind of stuff. Some of it's just like getting information out there because they don't want to keep it a secret. Mm-hmm. So, I, female 32, left my husband, 42 male.
30 gang.
Wow.
Sorry.
You're old. Okay. I, female 32, left my husband, 42 male, because I think he was too physically close to his mother. Like, really close.
I don't like this already.
Okay. I was married to my husband for about a year. I've been living apart from him for a few months now. I finally have had time to think about everything that's happened. I started going to a therapist, and she told me my mother-in-law gave me all the proof I needed to confirm that my husband was sexual with his mom. She said that my husband and his mom have an enmeshed relationship. His dad left when he was young, and she calls my husband her favorite son openly. My husband has a brother. My therapist said that she used my husband as a replacement when her husband left. So.
Oh, I don't like this.
Let's get into the details. I'm struggling with this because I feel like I don't have real proof that him and my mother-in-law are really crossing the line, but a few times my gut has told me that they are. Also, from what I've seen, there's a probability of it. Maybe I had enough to go off of to really leave him, or maybe I was just being jealous. I've been cheated on before, so I do struggle with jealousy. Oh, we love a self-aware queen. Here are some of the things that have happened. When I was first interested in him, his colleagues told me he was really attached to his mother. He talked about her a lot to them and stayed with him every summer. I didn't think much of this and thought it was nice that he valued his mother. First time meeting her was great. We went to her house and all seemed well until dinner. Then she began rubbing the inside of his upper thigh with her foot under the table. I was uncomfortable, but didn't say anything and thought maybe this was just affection.
What?
Yeah. Oh, wait, there's more.
I'm uncomfy.
There's more. The next night, we were watching TV, and she put her feet in his lap. He instantly started massaging them. She moaned kind of oddly. I thought this was just more affection and tried to ignore the weird moaning. Next day, she was talking to her husband, she was talking to my husband, about how she was buoyant because of her big boobs. Odd, but okay. Weird flex, but okay. We left the next day, and I'd been trying to stuff down the weirdness that lingered with me. A few weeks later, my husband told me about how his mom would take him to a resort every other year. He talked about all the things she would buy him and how much he loved it. I got curious and decided to ask him more questions. I said, "Oh, wow, does she get you your own room too?" He said, "No." I laughed and said, "Well, at least you get your own bed." He got super defensive and said, "So what if I have my own bed or not? It's nothing sexual." I said it was a little weird that he shared a bed with his mom, and he said I was a judgmental prick. He yelled at me on and off for the rest of the night. That's extremely defensive. But there's more.
Okay.
There's more.
Still uncomfy.
Then the summer rolled around, and she came to visit us. He told me they were compromising for me and that she would only stay for 3 weeks instead of the usual whole summer. Maybe she's, well, he's in his 40s, so she must be maybe retired. Mm-hmm. I was like, who's able to just take 2 weeks or 2 months off of work? But, you know.
Yeah, he's probably like, well, I wonder what he does.
Apparently makes
decent. Because he's talking about having
money.
the summer off. It sounds like he's a teacher.
Well, I mean, he might be, like, working, but she's just, like, at his house.
Oh, yeah, true.
Anyways, sorry. I was still not looking forward to 3 weeks of awkwardness, but I planned on keeping positive about it, and I decided I would try to get to know her better. So much weird happened when she was staying with us, so I'll try to just hit the really weird, out there ones in detail. But overall, every time I tried to talk to my husband, she would stand or sit in between us. She frequently sat on his lap and kind of bounced on him. One night after dinner, we were eating popsicles for dessert. She was sitting directly across from my husband and staring at him. She sucked that popsicle like it was the best dick she's ever had. I thought maybe it was in my head, but then she started moaning. I was shocked and absolutely mortified. It was like watching a porn ad. She got the melting popsicle all over her face. She has lip fillers that have kind of deflated in her age, so it looks absolutely disgusting paired with the moaning. Her baggy lips up and down, in and out on the popsicle combined with moans. It took all my strength not to burst out laughing. I started playing guitar to cover the sound of the moans, and she seemed to get pissed. I talked to my husband when we were alone in bed. I asked him if he thought the popsicle thing was strange, and he said, "Yeah, a little weird, but don't make a big deal out of it." I asked him why she did that, and he said not to talk to him about it. That's weird. That's really weird.
That's suspicious. I'm uncomfy.
Oh my gosh. Over the next few days, I would catch them playing footsies under the table at meals. He would come up behind her and pull her body to the front of his really close and massage her shoulders. She would kind of grind on him a little. It was so weird to watch, and I kind of blushed and walked away. I finally sat my husband down and said I was feeling uncomfortable with the amount of physical closeness he had with his mom. He blew up and pretty much said she would notice if he wasn't physical with her and she would get mad at him. He said there was nothing wrong with how physical they were and that I was a jealous person. We still had a week left of her visit, and after many hours of fighting him and him calling me a jealous person, I told him I would need to set up some serious boundaries. I said that I would ask her in front of him to be a little less physical with him because it made me feel uncomfortable. He said fine after hours of fighting and me stating this is a boundary for our relationship and I needed to be heard. He also said that I'd regret it.
What?
We were sitting by the fireplace the next night, and I told her I grew up with different levels of affection than their family, and I felt a little uncomfortable with the level of physical affection her and my husband were showing. She laughed and said, "What, like this?" and grabbed my husband by his inner thigh, practically crotch. My husband said, "Mom," and shook her off. Then she laughed again and put her feet on his lap. He massaged her feet, and she moaned a little. I went to bed and pretty much stayed to myself the rest of the week, avoiding them as much as possible. After she left, I was talking to my husband's brother's girlfriend. I told her I felt weird about how physical my husband and his mom were. She told me that my husband's brother had always felt left out growing up because they only had eyes for each other and my husband could do no wrong in her eyes. Brother-in-law also told his girlfriend that when husband and brother-in-law were younger, mother-in-law would do stuff like show her yeast infection vagina to them so they would know what a yeast infection was. Yes, like show her vagina to them. I'll say it could still possibly be seen as educational, but I'm super grossed out. I think it may even border essay. Bad. It's essay. Disgusting. Anyways, I asked my husband about it, and he said it was a total lie. He called his brother and said, "That never happened, right, brother?" His brother sheepishly agreed and begged us not to tell mother-in-law. After this, my husband got bored and more angry at me every day for everything I did. Small things like leaving a sock the wrong side out in the laundry. I eventually moved out, but I told him I felt pushed out. He ended up telling me that it was because I didn't like his mom and made up stories about her. This isn't a complete account of what happened, just some of the highlights. I went to couples therapy, but I feel like it made things worse. I brought up how uncomfortable I was with him and mother-in-law's lack of physical boundaries. The therapist, or therapist in training, compared it to other cultures. She said, I needed to be accepting of other people's family dynamics. I felt like I was in the wrong for a long time. What a jacked up therapist. You go to couples counseling and you're like, oh yeah, it's cool, totally normal that your mother-in-law is practically your husband. Ugh.
I want to vomit.
I feel like I shouldn't have made him choose between me or his mother, but I also feel so uncomfortable with their physical closeness. But writing this and compiling all the weird shit that happened made me realize how what the fuck this really is. Also, I should add, I think he's been at the very least essayed by his mother, and she now has him groomed. I asked him if he would go to therapy on his own, and he declined. I don't even know how to begin to approach the subject that he may have been essayed by a mother-in-law, or if I ever should. I don't know if it's my place, especially now.
I don't even know where to begin with that. You go ahead.
So, flashing your genitals to a child is sexual assault.
Not okay.
Also, it absolutely sounds like she could have groomed her son.
Yep.
And is now enmeshed with him in some way, shape, or form, whether that be simply emotionally or if they are actually like sexually involved, which is gross. Yes. I will say though, I've listened to a lot of these like favorite son kind of stories, and there's some like trend of not trend, but there's an occurrence that seems to happen with mothers and certain sons, where they almost raise them to be what they would consider the perfect man.
Yeah, you've told me about these.
Yeah, and then, and usually it happens by them in some way pushing out that son's partner in some way, shape, or form, but essentially that they're emotionally enmeshed and that they, because they feel like they raised the perfect man, they want to be his partner more so than his mother. And most of them don't go this far, but they do make it extremely difficult for those sons to have healthy relationships with other partners. So this seems like that, but worse. Because, he's in his 40s. So she has to at least be in her 60s or older.
I want to vomit.
Do you have anything?
The yeast infection vagina thing is just gross by itself. But then the fact that she's like casually all over her son and he doesn't see a problem with it and then said that she'll get mad if he doesn't, which is weird. Yeah, I don't know. Nope. She needs to get out of that relationship as quick as possible.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like she's already left.
Yeah.
And it's just like now kind of dawning on her how like she's not crazy. Where like the previous, like the couples therapist was like, oh, well, some families just have different dynamics. Like, yeah, this is a different dynamic, all right. It's just
The Oedipus dynamic.
really, yeah, it's really borderline incest. It's scary and weird. And like, what has that dude gone through to be that enmeshed with his mother? But like, and then like to gaslight her the whole time and be like, oh, this is normal. You must just be frigid.
Yeah.
Like, that's almost what it seems like. Like, thank God she doesn't have children with him. They'd only been married for a year.
Yeah. Good.
And to think that, like, that's not even all of it, but literally just, like...
3 weeks.
On multiple occasions, your mother-in-law touching her own son's inner thigh.
And with not just her hands, but her feet as well under the table.
Disgusting.
And then practically deep-throating a popsicle.
Yeah, it's weird. There's just nothing normal about that.
No.
And especially that the brother-in-law, like, openly says, like, he felt left out and, like, it's obvious. Like, she openly calls, like, this girl's husband her favorite son.
Yeah.
Like, there's a big issue there. And obviously some level of family trauma, like, maybe the dad wasn't around or, like, he was a bad husband and then left them and... All right, so those were some of our Reddit stories that we found this week on our weird filler episode while half of our podcast crew is out of town. Thanks so much for joining. Check out our podcast and other social bios down in the description box below. You can check us out on YouTube as well as Spotify. We drop new episodes every Tuesday.
Yeah, our Spotify episodes will not have any of the big beeps in it. Those are the real fun ones.
No beeps. Yeah, if you like to listen uncensored after dark, check us out on Spotify.
After dark makes it sound terrible, but it's literally just us cussing.
Yeah, that's why it's funny.
Fuck you.
Beep.
I want to take that clip and use your voice for the beeps.
I mean, we could. Okay. Well,
right.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Shout out to Dollison, our #1 fan.
Yeah, for real. We'll leave this in the end of the episode. Thanks. I'm not calling you AJ.
You.
Yeah. You're going to be Dollison forever.
Dollison for life. All right. Have a good time, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.